Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. So far, we've covered um NIST 853 Rep 4, and then we also touched base on Rep 5. As a matter of fact, if you are new to our channel, make sure you subscribe, like our videos, and refer to your friends and family. Thank you so much. Today is really gonna be packed, okay, with a lot of information. And now, even if you're looking for a job or you are working, it's important for you to understand the changes that Red 5 comes with. And you might be surprised that you also have some working professionals who don't have any idea as to what Red 5 has, okay? So now is your time for you to take advantage of this session and make sure you go to the NIST website, get documents that you can also learn. And today I will use my monitor. So if you see me looking, I know if you see my eyes looking the other direction, know that I'm using my monitor because we'll have to share a lot of articles, I have to present for you all to comprehend. So we will just start with what we have. As a matter of fact, so I'm sharing my screen. Share. So I'll just pull a PowerPoint slide. And for this PowerPoint slide, do you see NIST 853 Rep 5? Okay. I won't really do a recap as I always do for the previous videos because this one might be a very lengthy video. So we need to save some time. Okay, so what we will do, I'll present and then we'll also visit the different publications. But the very first thing we want to start is first of all understanding the key differences between Ref 4 and Ref 5. And if we go to the target audience section on this document, both documents, you see the changes like a lot, okay? And fair enough, if I can be honest with you all, I've studied concept over and over again, but I've not really like had the time or put in the effort or time to understand the target session like I will go in depth today. Right. So first, at a high level, we look at the key aspect there. We have to talk about privacy emphasis, the sense that when it comes to the NIST 800 Rep 3, Rep 4, I mean Rep 4, Rep 4, they say privacy rules are less emphasized, but actually place more emphasis on security rules. While on Rep 5, it explicit focus on privacy with roles like privacy engineers, and we're going to see that on the document also. And then Rep 5 also come with logistic roles. For example, Rep 4, no SPT included in the target audience, but with Rep 5 include logical roles like procurement, official, as well as property managers. Then talking about system development, Rep 4 focusing on system engineers and integrators for security, but Rep 5 increased focus on privacy alongside security during system development life cycle. This aspect, when I was researching and reading to understand this, it really makes sense. And reason being that, like my last role, I was an ISO, as I actually work as an ISO and as a system owner, information system security officer. I work in heavily on a DevSecOps environment where I manage developers as well as DevOps engineer. And I recall one of the projects I worked there was to develop a secure code review to implement best security practices at the lower phase of the SDLC, that's the system development life cycle. So each time you have developers, wanting to develop certain applications, it's advisable to implement security best practice. And that's why you hear the word DevSecOps, development, security, and operation. But Red 5 also lay emphasis on privacy. So each time they are developing something at that initial phase, during the design phase or whatever phase, but still at the early phase of the LSDS, the system development life cycle. So once they are developing that, they also need to implement not just security, but also privacy consent. So they also need to take care of the privacy measures. And that's why last two videos, we also spend time going through the PTA, PIA, because privacy measures are a big thing. Okay, and our students, shout out to them, they did an incredible job yesterday. I was shocked. I was like, have you all worked as privacy officer before? They killed their part, they nailed it, they were able to develop PTA and PIA, and their presentation was top notch. overall framework, security focus with fewer references to privacy, while Rep 5 actually had do with provide a holistic approach integrating against security and privacy into the framework. So let's see, what exactly can we see in Rep 4? In Rep 4, they say privacy is not explicitly called out in the target audience section. As I said, we're just gonna go this and go through the slide, and then we'll go to the document and check. Rep 4 is not explicitly called out in the target session why privacy controls are part of the framework. Rep 4 doesn't elevate privacy to the same level as information security in terms of roles and responsibility. Rep 4 did a good job by identifying certain roles, lay emphasis on those roles, and also labeling like their responsibility and what they need to do as far as security controls are concerned, but it didn't like level actually give that responsibility or that same recognition as far as privacy controls are concerned. The privacy aspect in Rep 4 is generally integrated into security roles such as information security officer with a focus on protecting information system rather than distinctly focusing on personal data protection. But Rep 5 placed significant emphasis on privacy, making it distinct area alongside information security, right? Not just information security, not just the security aspect. Security and privacy is also of important concern here. The implicit mention of privacy engineers, it definitely mentioned privacy engineers and senior agency officials for privacy show that privacy is now separate but equally important concern in the overall security framework. So just as security is important, privacy is also important, right? So there's that equilibrium. Privacy engineers are mentioned alongside system security engineers and other security roles, underlining the importance of security-related controls that need to be implemented during system design, development, and operation. Do you see? We already touched base on that. So during the early phase of the LSDLC, once they are developing whatever application they want to develop in-house or how they want to do it, but security, why they are also implementing best security practices, they also need to take care of the privacy concern or privacy measures. And they said the senior agency official for privacy are emphasized as part of the privacy governance team, recognizing privacy as a critical element of information security programs. The next one we have is logical responsibility. Rep 4 does not specifically include a category for logical responsibilities, such as procurement or property managers, right? Why these roles are vital to the function of security programs, Rep 4 does not explicitly highlight them in the target audience section. In Rep 4, roles like system integrators and program managers were generally focused on developing or overseeing system implementation, but without clear mention of the physical life cycle of systems such as acquisition and decommissioning. Very, very important. You have this for, they actually address them at a more generic term, a broader scope, but do we have a defined process that followed also the life cycle as to when a system is being decomposed? If you don't need that data anymore, how do you get rid of the data? Let's see what Rep 5 has to say. Rep 5 introduced a new focus on logical rules, recognizing the need for people involved in the acquisition and disposition of systems and assets to be explicitly called out. You see, first, procurement officials are now listed as part of the target audience, emphasizing that purchasing systems, remember system, both hardware and software must be done in line with security as well as privacy standards. So mentioning this set of personnel or stewards, procurement officials, the procurement team, they are involved in making purchase, buying whatever tools we need, being physical or software. But each time they are doing that, they also need to make sure it is being done aligned with security and privacy, not just security alone. Okay. The next one is property managers. These are also introduced, acknowledging their responsibility in ensuring that systems are securely decommissioned and data is wiped when no longer needed. So now we have a proper life cycle. It doesn't mean that they didn't have it in REFOR. It doesn't mean that REFOR didn't have privacy. But now, as I said, there's that equilibrium, right? So just as information security is of priority concern, privacy is also major concern, right? So reform lay a lot of emphasis on security controls or measures. System integrators. Why stay involved in design, in system design and security integration also now have a broader responsibility for ensuring the physical system meets security standards throughout their life cycle. But why is this important? The introduction of logical responsibilities in Rep 5 addresses the growing complexity of security management in modern organizations. That's true, right? With data destruction, secure procurement, and asset management are the integral part of information security. With everybody collecting people's data, a lot of competitors, computer is digitized, so you also want to make sure that they're handling people information, in a more secure way, right? This broader focus in Rep 5 underscore that security isn't just about data protection. It involves the physical systems that house and process that data and their life cycle management from acquisition to decommissioning. You get? So it's not all about oh, we have to protect digital data. It's all about digital data. No. Even when the physical servers or system that house that data, how everything do we have a defined, detailed, thorough, comprehensive life cycle that tells us how the data is also protected, and when we don't need that data anymore, how is it being destroyed or erased to make sure that there's no unauthorized access or some form of compromisation going on. Evolution of system development and integration rules. um Revision 4, in Rep 4, the focus on system development and security integration involves roles like system engineers, system integrators, and security engineers. These roles are important for designing and integrating secure system, but not explicitly tied to privacy engineering. You see, so really they focus on privacy aspect or the integration of privacy controls in the development process. System engineers and developers are mentioned as part of the target audience, but their responsibility are framed primarily within the context of system security. But let's see what Ref 5 has to offer. Ref 5 shift the focus toward integrating privacy and security during system development. We touched base on that already. During the early phase, initial phase of the ELS DLC, make sure they are being integrated, not just security alone, but privacy also. The roles of privacy engineers are introduced, you see? So they actually introduce new roles. Privacy engineers alongside information security engineers, right? Not just system engineers, information security engineers, as well as system integrators. This shows that in Ref 5, security and privacy are more integrated together from the design phase. So you put everything together. Privacy engineers are now seen as essential to ensuring that systems are built with privacy by design rather than being an afterthought. The inclusion of hardware and software developers, therefore actually address this, highlights the growing importance of secure coding and the need for developers to be aware of both security and privacy requirements during system development. Very important. As I said, like my last role, I developed a secure code review for them to implement best security practices so as to eliminate, application-related vulnerabilities. You don't want a situation where they've developed that code, everything seems to work very well, and then once you all deploy to production, then you start having all the different vulnerabilities, right? Like buffer overflow due to incorrect coding and all those things. So, and that's why they said that the fact that security is also being implemented, at the initial phase of the else DLC, so you also want to measure both security and privacy requirements. So developers need to understand, hardware and software developers need to understand not just security alone, but also the privacy aspect. Do you see how beautiful Red 5 is? So why is this important? With the rise of stringent privacy regulations and increasing public concern over personal data protection, Reg 5 recognizes that both security and privacy must be addressed during the design phase and development. The introduction of privacy engineers reflect a move toward more integrated approach in ensuring that systems are both secure and compliant with privacy laws from the onset. So not only has to do with different regulations or different laws, but also have all those privacy law, like the Privacy Act that was enacted in 1972, I believe. You have the California Consumer Privacy Act, CCPA, you have GDPR, you have HIPAA. There are so many privacy laws out there. So let's go to this document and see and try and explain what we've just covered. Okay. All right, so this is rep 4. This right here is rep 4, and this is rep 5. So if I can just their control, okay, no, let me just set target audience. Let's go there. Okay, so rep 5, we are on target audience. Let me come to rep 4 and do target audience. So you just do, if you trying to understand like basic computer words, you just type Control F, your search bar. I hope my audience is correct. Once you do Control F, your search bar, you just take the search bar, then you can type whatever you want to type. And you see right there, it's searching. So it will definitely take us there. I hope my audience is correct. Target audience, yes. Okay, I need to take it up. Okay, do you see? Okay, I was all the way down. So I just take target audience. It took me there. If you look at this very well, let's see how we can read this. If you see the very first one, right? Do you see information? This publication intended to serve diverse audience of information system and information security professional, including individuals with information system security or risk management and oversight responsibilities, authorizing officer, information officer, senior officer, security. You see the lay emphasis on role like the information security manager, and the like, right? But if we come here on rep 4, then something has changed. I mean, rep 5, it talk of individual with system information security, privacy, or risk management and oversight responsibilities, including authorizing officials, chief information officer, senior agency security officer, and senior agency officer for privacy. So we see that like they keep bringing up privacy, privacy, privacy. And in Ref 4, I mean, if you go back to Ref 4, you can also read individual with information system development responsibility, e.g. program managers, system designers and developers, information security engineers, and system integrators. But on the flip side, Red 5 said individual with system development responsibilities included mission owners, program managers, system engineers, system security engineers. Do you see privacy engineers? So do you see the emphasis they keep laying on privacy, privacy, even hardware and software developers? Remember, we have a slide, a slide that said that developers also need to be aware, both software and hardware developers also need to understand not only security, but also the privacy need when they are developing applications, all the way in the design phase, they also need to understand the importance of security aspect. And you see acquisition of procurement offices. So they actually included these guys also. And then Refo said that individuals with information security implementation and operation responsibility, mission business owner, information system owners, command controls providers, information owners and stewards, system administrators, information system security officer, and then individuals with logistic or decomposition related responsibility, including program managers, procurement officers, right? Security integrators, as well as property managers. So this again, do you see what we just discussed? So we need to have a physical life cycle, not only being concerned about digitally protected asset, but also the server or the physical location that house this data. And even when you don't need it, you have, cycle, how do you decompose or get rid of it? So Ref 5 actually lay emphasis on this. And then Ref 5, again, if you look here, it also lay emphasis on individual with security and privacy assessment and monitoring responsibility, including auditors and all those things. So this is the first aspect that we've covered. You guys, you can see these are the two documents. This is NIST 853 Ref 4, revision 4. You can see all the way right there, right? Why this is NIST 853 Ref 5. Can I even see it? This is it right here. NIST 853 Ref 5. So let's go back to our slide and see the next point. Okay, so overall summary, it says Red 4 focuses more heavily on traditional information security roles and responsibilities. It includes both technical roles, e.g. system engineers, and oversight roles, e.g. chief information officer, with an emphasis on security programs. Red 5 reflects on evolutions toward a more holistic approach to information governance, integrating both security and privacy concern. The framework includes clearer delineation of privacy rules and emphasizes the need for organizations to address both security and privacy in parallel, right? The shift from Ref 4 to Ref 5 shows a broader recognition of the interconnectedness of privacy and security, not just security or security alone, reflecting the modern landscape of cybersecurity, where both are equally important for comprehensive data protection and regulatory compliance. Then the next aspect or key difference that we also want to check has to do with control families. Rep 4, so we definitely go there. With Rep 4 actually have two control families. 18 control families, while Rep 5 have 20 control families. With the 20 control families, these are the two new control families that got added. You have PT, PII, that is personally identifiable information processing and transparency. Remember that Web 5 lay emphasis on the privacy aspect. So each title of PII processing and transparency, how transparent are organizations when they are collecting people's information, right? And the next one has to do with supply chain risk management. Tell me, who doesn't have third-party vendor? Who doesn't rely on vendors for their business to be operational? And that's the reason that Red 5 also brought supply risk management, because your vendor risks are your risks. We will definitely get there. But let's go to our document and verify the control families. So while we are here, I'll just type, if you type table 1, it should take you there. That's it right there. This is Rep 4. We can have the table. And then for Rep 5, I'll just do table 1 still. Do you see? If you see right here, Rep 4, we said that it has 18 families, and these are the 18 families. But Rep 5, we have 20 families, and those are the 20 families right there. We just confirmed that, right? And one thing we also want to see, but why did they add? Why did they decide to add two new families? Let's take a look. First, Understanding the need for new control families in the NIST 853 Revision 5, that's the privacy as well as supply chain, with the very first family known as a PII, processing and transparency, PT. PT is a core concern in modern privacy regulations. Very important. The addition of the PII, processing and transparency, PT family focuses on processing, storing, disclosing personal data in a transparent and secure way. You get the point? You got to do it in a transparent way. There's just no way you're going to be collecting people information without telling them why you first of all need that information, right? And that also tells you guys, when you are shopping online, do you ever go to the privacy section to read and see what kind of information they collect from you? Even some of you visited our website. Have you even bothered to go to our privacy session and read the type of information, the kind of information we also collect from you guys? That's the privacy aspect where you gotta be transparent, right? Or you that you want to maybe run a business, do you also realize that you need to come up with a privacy policy? You need to be able to have a privacy section, and that's something that we have, right? So, but why add this family? It says privacy regulations with the increasing number of data protection law, like the General Data Protection Regulations, GDPR, CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act, or even HIPAA. GDPR is just one of the most stringent regulation out there. CCPA too in California is also another one, right? And other global privacy regulations, organizations are required to handle PII in a way that is transparent and compliant with this law. So it's very, very important. Also, the second reason is the fact that there's a growing focus on data privacy. So the handling of PII requires strict protocols for transparency in how personal information is gathered. How do you gather it? Do you have different methods, medium or tools? How do you even collect or gather the information? How is it being stored? How are you going to use it? And how is it being shared? Right? Do you have those legal regulatories or frameworks that allows you to collect data? Right? So you have to document everything. And shout out to our students because they did an incredible job yesterday. I was shocked. I even asked, have some of them work as privacy officer? Because I just couldn't imagine that this is just a hands-on project, the way they develop PTA from scratch. They developed PTA with that. They were able to develop their PIA based on the system descriptions that we gave them, and their presentation was, it was top notch. You know, these controls ensure organizations are accountable for their handling of PII. Then the next one is transparency and consent. This family emphasizes the need for clear communication with individuals regarding their data, providing mechanism for them to understand how their information is used, and in some cases, the ability to opt out or give their consent. So very clear and understandable. Likewise, when you receive emails, do you realize that in many, you have to put it in all the emails that you receive, you have a section that you can unsubscribe. These are all privacy concern and transparency aspect. So if you want to opt out, if you don't want to keep receiving email from that particular company, you have the right to unsubscribe. And each time you unsubscribe, it means that you've opted out. Or there are times that maybe your doctor's office or they want to, send you text generated messages and all those things. You have the right. They will ask you if you want this. You type yes. If you don't want to stop or you post stop, they say you've been you've unsubscribed. So all of this has to do with the privacy aspect. Organization must establish clear policies on how personal data is handled, ensuring that individuals are informed about the use of their data, their right to access it, and how they can opt out or withdraw consent. So very, very important. That's why you see we also have that control family. Then the next one has to do with supply chain risk management. Family focuses on securing the supply chain, a critical part of any modern organization operations. With the rise of cyber attacks targeting supply chains, the addition of this family in Rep 5 addresses the growing need for risk management in the context of external vendors and supplier. And as I said, who doesn't have vendors. Tell me the organization that doesn't have vendors. For example, USC Today, our website is being hosted by GoDaddy. What if something happens, GoDaddy's website goes down? Automatically, we are out of business. Maybe out because our website student will not be able to log in, like everything will be unavailable, right? So likewise, we need to understand that your vendor risks are eventually your risks because know that, for example, we are going with Bank of America. When they are outsourcing our data, they will not tell us that they are outsourcing our data. And that's why you expect them to be able to perform their security due diligence, have those controls in place, follow up to make sure that their vendors have the necessary controls to better protect users' data. Because if that vendor get hacked by default, you too, you directly get hacked, right? And that's why, again, as I said, your vendor risks are your risks. So if Bank of America get hacked, say they've outsourced our data to another company, it's not going to be an issue even if they put this like explain everything about a bridge, but at the end of the day we have a lot of competitors. I might want to go with different bank because I'm not going to trust them anymore, right? So likewise, same principle applies here. And shout out to all our working class students, those who got jobs. They are all working as third party vendor risk analysts and they're doing just fine. Okay, so you have supply chain vulnerabilities, the increasing frequency of cyber attacks and incidents like the solar winds. Again, you guys must have heard of the solar winds attack. Also highlight the risks posed by supply chain vulnerabilities. Attackers target third-party vendors to infiltrate larger organizations, right? So there might be attack in non-vulnerability or it might be an unknown vulnerability like zero-day vulnerability, but whatever the case might be, if they manage to attack or hack your vendor, automatically your data is exposed. And this is an important part too, because when you're dealing with third-party vendors, maybe you have your direct vendor, that's your third-party vendor. Your vendor is associating your data to another fourth-party vendor or another fifth-party vendor. I also want to understand when they want to get those data, is there going to be some form of direct integration? How would they even get access to your data? How would they store it? Yeah, it's just so much, question and answer that you follow or you perform your due diligence to make sure that the vendor actually have good robust security posture in place. Because your organization might have the best and best of controls, your organization might have stringent controls in place, but if your vendors have relaxed system, automatically once they get hacked, you are also directly, get hacked or get breached. And that's why it's also important to pay attention to this area in security. And you all can read about target data breach that occurred some years back and to see how they got, they got compromised. Their information got compromised as a result of a third-party vendor. As again, third-party dependency, that's something that we've just mentioned because a lot of company again depends, like for us, you have to depend on some of this organization for your business to go operational because it's not like company have their own money to pay their own customized to and all those things. You do not have that. So you have to rely on these vendors for your business to go operational. Again, like us today, even like I recall when we onboarded our fame, it's just a financial organization that also provide people loans. You get, if you are not able to afford or to pay, out of pocket, then you can also get a loan. I recall it took us more than 1 month to onboard that vendor because I needed to understand, in as much as I was focusing more on PCI DSS, because I don't want to take any form of payment online on the website that will expose or warrant us to become PCI DSS compliant. So because of that, I just shipped it through paper or I went through a film. And that's why it was very important for us to understand what kind of data they will be collecting from us, right? Also, we have regulatory pressure. Governments and industry regulators are recognizing the risks in supply chain, especially concerning critical infrastructure, by introducing the supply chain risk management family. Rep 5 addresses the need for organizations to actively manage and mitigate this risk, right? Because of, again, regulatory pressure. So it's very important for organization to do that. Organization must now have a formal approach to assess and mitigate risks posed by third-party vendors, ensuring that they adhere to security standards, do not introduce vulnerabilities into their organization. We did cover that. And in summary, first reason for adding this control family is area 5, protect privacy protection. The addition of the PII processing and transparency, PT, reflects the growing importance of managing personal data in compliance with global privacy regulations and ensuring transparency in data usage. Supply chain security. The supply chain risk management family addresses the increasing threats to supply chains and the need for robust third-party risk management, especially given recent high-profile cyber attacks targeting vendors and suppliers. Alignment with regulatory trends. These new control families align NIST 853 with the latest regulatory trends and involving cybersecurity threats, recognizing that both privacy and third-party dependencies require focused attention in today's digital and interconnected world. Because again, people, you have to rely on your third-party vendors, and because of that, you need to make sure they also have the necessary security controls. The addition of these two families shows that REP 5 or R5 is designed to better align with current cybersecurity and privacy challenges by addressing emergency risks and ensuring that organizations are equipped to deal with these challenges in a comprehensive manner. Then the next interesting part, also another difference that we're going to see, it says changes in the structure of a typical control. For example, in revision 4, there is a base control supplemental guideline. As a matter of fact, this what you see, I just took a screenshot. We will definitely analyze this and then we'll also go to the document and check it for ourselves, right? So if you look there, I highlighted something like this is Rep 4, this is Rep 5. If you can see Rep 4 actually have the base control, access control, right? And then it comes again, they tell you about access control policy and procedure, but there they just put AC-1 and they just put policy and procedure, right? And then if you see here, they put supplemental guidance, why it's been replaced by discussion. I want to find out why discussion. And if you even look at the summary of this control and this one, you could tell that this one is even lengthier than this other one, right? And then you have your control enhancement as well as references. But let's go to our slide and see what those things entails. First, it says that in Rep 4, after the base control, e.g. access control policy and procedure, there is a section called supplemental guidance, and we will see. As I said, we'll definitely visit to see, but I took a screenshot also. So that's a supplemental guidance. First, supplemental guidance, and by the word, it's an English word, guidance. What does it mean? But we're going to see in day 2. Supplemental guidance in Rep 4 provides additional context and explanation for the implementation of the control. It discusses how the control relates to broader organizational practices, external requirements, or specific nuances of the security program. This section typically provides information on how the control can be customized or adapted to different organization contexts. But, for example, the AC-1 supplemental guideline explains how the access control policy and procedure are meant to reflect federal laws, executive orders, and the security program needs. It also emphasizes how the control could be applied across different systems or entities and might need to be adjusted based on the organization risk management strategies. But in Rep 5, the supplemental guidance is replaced by a new section called discussion. You hear the word discussion. Let's talk. I got you. I got you. You got me. We need to talk. We need to talk. And as well, let's discuss, right? Not just give me a guidance, more of descriptive thing for me to do. Let's analyze this thing together, right? The discussion section in Rep 5 serves as a similar purpose as the supplemental guidance in Rep 4, but it is organized differently and framed as a discussion rather than just guidance. You get a point. The discussion in Rep 5 provides deeper insights into the practical application and implementation of the control. That's the applicability aspect, how is it being applied or implemented, discussing how the controls can be adapted and implemented within the organization. It also explains the importance of risk management strategies, the relationship between security and privacy controls, programs and the documentation needed for compliance. As a matter of fact, let's see, and maybe we can still go there. Key difference also, Rep 4 has supplemental guidance, which is more descriptive, more of a descriptive section giving advice on how control should be applied, right? More descriptive. And it's often included references to the standard and regulations, whereas Rep 5 replaced supplemental guidance with discussion which explore the reasoning behind the control more deeply. You get the point? That's why I said let's talk, let's discourse, which give practical examples and emphasizes the relationship between security practices and the overall organizational strategy. This makes Rep 5 more contextual and action oriented. That's a keyword. Contextual and action oriented, focusing on how the control should be interpreted as well as implemented. First, why the change? The shift from that's increased practicability. The shift from supplemental guidance to discussion in Rep 5 makes the guidance more actionable. We actually mentioned of action oriented. It is less about providing general advice and more about explaining how the control should be applied in real world scenarios, offering more context about its implementation and the organization's requirements. Shift from general advice to specific guidance. While Rep 4 supplemental guidance was broad and advisory, Rep 5 discussion provides more contextual explanation tailored to organization needs, reflecting the shift in emphasis in Rep 5 toward more practical application and strategic alignment. And lastly, in summary, Rep 5 revision replaces the supplemental guidance of Rep 4 with a discussion session, providing more practical, actionable guidance and aligning it with the organization risk management and security program strategies. This change makes the control more contextual and actionable, providing a clearer path for the implementation in various organization environment. So before we go to the next one, let's go to that session and find out something. I just need to go to the table of content. I think from there I should take me to, so start with Rep 5. Okay. Maybe we'll go to control summary. Okay. So that's Rep 5. So we'll actually make mention of AC control, right? So this is what we were discussing about supplemental guidance, discussion, and all those things. So let's also go to Rep 4 and then go there, and that way we can highlight it. All right. Goodness, I'm so tired. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is Rep 4. Okay, selection of control baseline, direct control, creating control. But where are the control themselves? Security control structures, security control destination. I think let's just go security control baseline. We have the baseline, but where are the actual controls? You see the 4. So let me see. So I have to just stop it to quickly search it rather than, recording everything. So what I did, I quickly searched for access control policy and procedure right there. That's my search. Um, yeah, access control policy and procedure, and it actually gave me this, right? So if you look like what we've said, we make mention of supplemental guidance, and then we'll talk about discussion. But if you look at the supplemental guidance here, it says that this control addresses the establishment of policy and procedure for the effective implementation of selected security controls and control enhancement in the AC family. Policy and procedure reflect applicable laws. We actually may mention that, right? Applicable law, executive orders, directive, regulations, policies, standard, and guidance. Security program policies and procedure at the organization level might make the need for system-specific policy and procedure unnecessary. The policy can be included as part of the general information security policy for organizations, or conversely, can be represented by multiple policies reflecting the complex nature of certain organizations. The procedures can be established for the security program in general and for particular information system. If needed, the organization risk management, you see, if needed, the organization risk management strategy is a key factor for establishing policy and procedure. But on the other side, if we come to the Rep 5, it says that access control policy and procedure address the control AC family that are implemented within system and organization. The risk management strategy. Do you see how they lay emphasis on this? The risk management strategy is an important factor in establishing such policy and procedure. Policy and procedure contribute to security and privacy assurance. Therefore, it's important that security and privacy program collaborate on the development of access control policy and procedure. Get the point? Security and privacy program policies and procedures at the organization level are preferable. So do you see it's more, as we mentioned, action oriented. Tell me what I need to do, right? In general, and may deviate the need for mission or system specific policy and procedures. The policy can be included as part of the general security and privacy. Do you see everything is security and privacy, security and privacy. The policy can be included as part of the general security and privacy policy or be represented by multiple policy reflecting the complex nature of the organizations. Procedures can be established for security and privacy programs, for mission or business processes, and for systems if needed. Procedures describe how the policies or controls are implemented and can be directed at the individual or role that is the subject of the procedure. Procedure can be documented in system security and privacy plan or in one or more separate documents. You see, they even like tells you, name you the kind of document that you can use. Events that may participate and update to access control policy and procedure include assessment of audit findings. Do you see, like this is more elaborate, action oriented. They went in detail telling us what we need to do, not just being descriptive. So that's one thing about that. Okay. So we've covered this one section about supplemental guidance. That's something that you guys can, you can just still visit the site and make sure you read from it, right? And you see, Rep 5 replaced that. The section in R5 serve a similar purpose as the supplemental guidance in Rep 4, but it is organized differently and framed as a discussion rather than just guidance. It provides deeper insight into the practical application and implementation of the control, discussing how the control can be adapted and implemented within the organization. We saw that already. It also explains the importance of risk management strategies, the relationship between security and privacy program, and the documentation needed. You see, this when they say that they can do like, I think the SSP or whatsoever, it actually says a couple of documentations that organization might need. Okay, we covered this already. Okay, we covered those. So another thing that we're also going to recognize that have changed is the title, right? In Rem 4, the title focuses specifically on access control. This means that the policy and procedures described are only about who can access what an organization's in an organization system. It varies, um, is very specific to managing access rights, ensuring that only unauthorized or authorized people can access sensitive system data or areas. For example, we're going to see that the access control, it makes it clear that the focus is narrow and only applies to controlling access, and more on a generic policy and procedural framework for security controls. Whereas in Rep 5, the title is much broader. It simply says policy and procedure without the mention of access control. This change means that the policy and procedure discussed are not only about access control, but instead apply to a wide range of security measures. It could be about how systems are developed, how data is protected, how systems are monitored, and so on. Policy and procedure is more flexible and can cover any security related area, not just access controls, right? And you see, when they talk of dash one control, let's just finish this and then we'll go to the slide and verify it. You see, AC or dash one control, call them dash one control, policy and procedure, right? All dash one controls, they are policy and procedures. But why they change? The title change in Rep 5 reflects a shift for a more specific focus. If you look there, they put like, dash one AC, like you are talking to AC control and AC control alone. I know AC control policy and procedure, but Rep 5 actually removed the access control from being more specific to more generic focus, right? So you can apply it in any format. Focus on overall security policies and procedure, not just AC alone. Instead of just focusing on who has access to what, Ref 5 is saying that security involves many aspects. You see, protecting data, monitoring system, ensuring compliance, and so on. And policies and procedures need to cover all of them, right? And before we go to the next one, outcome based. So let's go back to this sheet and then see it. Do you see? So yeah, on Rep 4, do you see? As we said, it's more specific. You have first control family, access control. Then they came now, AC-1, access control policy and procedure. That's what we're saying. But if you come here, first, tell us about access control, and then rather than putting access control policy and procedure, you just put policy and procedure. So not necessarily access control. I can use this format and also develop a policy based on what they have, not just being specific on access control alone. Number 2 has to do with I'm so tired. Outcome-based controls. This is really, really important, right? First, one of the most significant changes in Rep 5 is the shift towards outcome-based controls. What does it mean? We're going to see that shortly. This means that Rep 5 removed the entity, very important, like information systems or organization from the control statement, focusing on the control instead on what needs to be achieved. So we'll see that shortly. For example, why this change? By removing the entity responsible for fulfilling the control, REFI gives organization more flexibility in how they assign responsibility, which might depend on their structure or the specific context. The focus is now on achieving the desired outcomes, such as securing access control, not specifying who must perform the task. For example, the organization may ensure that access control measures are implemented, while in Rep 5, access control measures must be implemented. The shift ensures that the control is focused on the action, that is the outcome, leaving flexibility to in whom handles, the implementation of that control. So in Rep 5, information security and privacy control are now integrated to similar catalog. I think I kind of missed my slide there. Oh, I was shocked. Why did I actually? Yeah. No. Yeah, so we'll talk of outcome based. Okay, so let's go see it. Okay. So, okay, this is the next slide. Still on outcome based. For example, say, imagine a project team responsible for developing an access control policy. In Rep 4, the responsibility is explicitly placed on the organization to develop and disseminate the policy. But in Rep 5, the statement only mentions the action of creating and sharing the policy, meaning different groups or individuals could be tasked with the implementation depending on the structure of the organization. So why is this change important? The removal of the organization in Rep 5 allows for more flexibility in how the task is assigned and accomplished. It focuses on what needs to be done rather than who does it, which makes it easier for organizations to allocate responsibility across various roles. So if we go back to our document, do you see AC? This is exactly what we were saying. So in AC-1, you will see what they talk of the control, they talk of the organization, but here it's just blank, So this is blank. So yeah, if organization wants to develop security policy, this is how, use this outline to be able to develop policies. But if you see they've laid emphasis on the organization. For example, if you read out the statement, they said develop, document, disseminate to organization defined personnel. The organization, who within your organization is required to develop, document, and that, but they actually put the responsibility on your organization. But yeah, it's more outcome based. So we are not focusing on what we have to do it, but the action we want this control to be implemented. So anybody within the organization that the organization felt they can do this, they'll be able to do it. So meet this control objective, right? And that's why you see it's more outcome based, so it's open, there's more flexibility. You have any other role can fulfill the same assignment. So in summary of that, the responsibility is placed explicitly on the organization to fulfill the control. You see, organization must do it. Then Rep 5, the focus shifts to outcome-based controls, meaning the tasks need to be accomplished. Developing access control policy, but who does it can vary. You get a point, so anybody can do it at this point. This outcome-based approach in Red 5 provides organization with greater flexibility in assigning responsibility for the control while still ensuring the desired outcome is achieved. So another one, let's go. Control statement. This is a good one. So we need to go to AC7, right? We'll definitely go there. Also, when we go to AC7, it says the control statement, the phrase, the information system is specifically mentioned in the control. For example, the information system enforces a limit of organization-defined number, name it. But at this point, lay emphasis on that information system, that particular information system. Consecutive invalid logon attempt by a user during an organization-defined time period. Yeah, you see, we do not have anything still on the on the level of outcome based. Enforce limit of organization defined number. Consecutive invalid logon attempt by a user using organization defined time period. So yeah, the control explicitly named the information system as the responsible party for ensuring the logon attempts limit. You see, but the phrase the information system is now removed and replaced with a more outcome focused statement that simply specifies what needs to be done, enforcing the limit, not who does it. So at this point, it's not about you or this person have to do it, to achieve the controls definition or objectives. But at this point, it's more action oriented. Who within the organization needs to do it? Let's do it. Okay. Then if we go, Steve, let's just finish before we go there. In the control statement, the information system enforces that we read that already. The responsibility is explicitly placed on the information system to carry out this action. Still, it focuses solely on enforcing the limit without specifying that the information system is the responsible party. It is an outcome focus. The goal is to enforce the limit, but it can be implemented by any relevant system or role within your organization. Get a point? And that's why we kept talking about outcome, how they call. Okay, so in summary of these, Arrow 4 had a specific mention of who is responsible for the control, that's the information system. Arrow 5 removed that specific entity and focusing on what the control needs to be accomplished, making it more flexible and more adaptable to different organization structure. This approach is Rep 5. In Rep 5, makes it easier to apply this control in a variety of contexts, regardless of whether the information system or another role or system is responsible for the enforcement. That being said, so let's go now to the document. Let's go to Arrow 5. Arrow 7, I mean AC 7. That's AC 3, AC 4, AC 5, AC 6. Okay, AC 7, that's Rep 4. Then we go to Rep 5, we need to go to AC 7. AC 5. Okay, AC 7. So this is what we're referring to, right? So if you see here, this is more outcome based, but here, you see the information system. So Rep 5 eliminated those, enforces the limit. So we don't care who within that organization, but we just want action. We want these controls to be the control to be implemented. And this is something that if you even look at the supplemental guidance, this was just more of a guidance, but you see now the discussion is so lengthy, more detail that organization can embrace that. So this actually brought us like these are some of the high level things that you can check on, Rep 5. It's a lot. That being said, I also have a document that I downloaded from the website, and I expect people to also go download this document. Let me bring my mouse there, that way we can go there. I can just show you all one more time. I know last video I showed people where to go download it, that you need to go to the NIST website and learn how to download. if you go to the NIST 853, you go to 53. You see security and privacy control. So this is the next document that's, very handy. This one, analysis of update between 853 Rep 5 and Rep 4. And then, mapping controls with the privacy, matching cybersecurity framework and privacy. And also a crosswalk between the NIST 800 Rep 5 and the ISO 27001 and 2. That's something if you have an organization that adhere to the ISO 27001 and 2, and you guys also adhere to the NIST framework, then that's a cross-reference that you can use. I already have this document downloaded, and this is something that our students are going to do hands-on, be able to identify all the controls that got added. I actually have a student batch have their presentation with me that I'm going to put that presentation and show you all what they did. So with that, I already have this document. So if you look at this document here, first, what you need to do is for you to be able to read, because the reason of us doing this, again, you might get a job today, you have organization that are still on Rep 4, they want to move to Rep 5. You're working for an organization that they're still on Rep 4, they are moving to Rep 5. It's important for you to understand. I'm saying so because, I did move my organization from Rep 4 to Rep 5, and this was something that I did, right? So you also want to read, and if you look at the section very well, they say the difference between the two versions is considerable. Rep 5 at 66 new base controls like the AC that we saw, the AC1 or AC2, those are the base control. 22 new control enhancement like AC2 1, AC2 2, AC2 3. We're going to see those are the enhancement, and 131 new parameters to existing controls. There are 90 newly withdrawn controls that have been incorporated into move to other controls, along with 92 previously withdrawn controls, resulting in a total of 107 controls and an enhancement in revision 5. And the one important thing I always tell people, especially like when you are working on this document, you want to take advantage of this color code. It means something. For example, the salmon pink shading said that used to identify control and enhancement new to Rep 5. This new control and control enhancement are also indicated in the control or the change element column H as new control or new control enhancement. Why, if you go to the dark gray shading, it says that used to identify controls and enhancement that were withdrawn in Rep, right? And then light gray shading used to identify controls and enhancement that were withdrawn in previous versions. And then no shading used to identify controls and control enhancement that are unchanged. They've not changed. You have the same control for Rep 4, the same control for Rep 5, because this is important. All your information system, you guys already have a baseline, right? If we are now Rep 5, we need to be in adherence to Rep 5. So you need to be able to identify all your security control baseline. The new control that got added, control that got removed, got incorporated. So you guys, you need to do all those things, right? And that's why if you come here, before I take you all to our student presentation, if you come here, you go to the Rep 5 update, say you want to sort by color, for example, and yeah, you can see, you already have the impact levels, that's low, moderate, and high. You also have your privacy, remember Rep 5, actually the NIST 853 Rep 5, it brought, we'll have a designated documentation, that's a 53B. And well, you have the security control baseline on your 53B. And on the 53B, we actually integrate, it brought together both the privacy and security. That's why we have it here, right? So whatever, security, privacy remains, but whatever like impact level you have, if it's low, moderate, or high, then you also need to refer back with the set of controls that you guys have and see if there are new controls that got added. Right? And that's why to easily play with this thing, we can just sort it by colors. So sort by color, we'll go with a salmon something, do you see? These are all the new controls that got added. Do you see how many of them? So student will have to learn, sort out, and explain this thing. And I'll put their document that way you guys can see. And then If you want to change a color, you can change it and take the dark gray. You see, these are all controls that got, do you see, withdrawn, incorporated into AC2. Do you see? So it was withdrawn and it got incorporated into AC2K. This one was withdrawn and it got incorporated into A16. Do you see? So the new change, so it literally shows everything about those controls. So just to play with this, likewise, no shading. They said these are controls that, no, this is a shade, light shading. Previously withdrawn in Rep 4, incorporated to A6. Previously withdrawn in Rep 4, incorporated to MP. So they definitely withdrawn a lot of these controls and incorporated to other set of controls. Right, so this is something that you all can go there and then spend your time. With that being said, I'll post my students' presentation and show you guys like their hands-on project and what they did. This was so handy. Right, I really love this their presentation. If you look at what they put, table of content, they put overview of control and enhancement added in revision 5, new control added to the high baseline, and as a matter of fact, their information system that they've categorized is a high system. It collects a lot of sensitive information, and that system also require PTA, is PIA positive, meaning that they conducted a PTA, they were able to analyze their PTA and then actually chose a privacy officer that determined that that system is PIA positive. And since it's PIA positive, they also need to develop a PIA policy, right? So, and that's why, their system by default is already a high system. So now what we are doing, because like, again, it hands-on, high system, you already have a set of NIST control Rep 4, you should be able to identify, move your organization. Now, this is their system, they have to move their system from Rep 4 to Rep 5. So they've identified all the set of controls that they have on Rep 4 for a high system. Tell me all the new control baseline that got added for your Rep 5, those controls that are not needed. So this is something you're going to do at your job, right? At work, this is something you guys are going to do. So our students were able to do this and also presented their work. All right, control withdrawn and remap into Rep 5. Details of base control added to high baseline. As I said, their system is a high system. And you see, this was like, the presentation is so neat. Overview of controls and enhancement added in revision 5. First, new control family added. They said the migration of NIST 853 into the revision 5 led to the addition of 2 new controls family. We already discussed about that. You see, so they actually spoke about the new control that got added. They even went as far as breaking down like the different key aspects of the different controls that got added. For example, supply chain management, supply chain risk management. They talk of supply chain management strategy and the like. And then they also talk overview of control and enhancement added in revision 5. And they said there are a total of 268 control and enhancement added to Rep 5. Among those control, 22 control belongs to the new control family. Do you see? So they were able to sort and play around with this thing. And that's how they came with their numbers. The 3 controls and 2 control privacy control were added to the high baseline. Because at the end of the day, you have to identify all of these, but you also have a baseline that you're working on. So the fact that we are Rep 4, because that's how the project is, you're Rep 4, you want to be able to migrate to Rep 5, you need to identify your baseline. For you to be in compliance, you need to have all the minimum requirements. That's your security control baseline, privacy and security control baseline. And you see, they did an incredible job. New control added to the high baseline. Do you see? So this is what they have. The new control added to the high baseline. And then the like new privacy control added and applicable to high baseline. So remember, there's a difference with new control, like new control added to the high baseline, they have it. And then they come to new control, but the fact that it's added, is it applicable? That's another thing. And that's why you see their slide. New controls added and applicable to high baseline. So they have this 2 control that is applicable and it got added to their new high baseline. Then they have controls remap into NIST 853. I said a total of 91 control were withdrawn in Rep 4 and remap in Rep 5, but their work job is so clean. And you see they were able to sort that out. They took a screenshot of it and they show us all the control that got withdrawn, that were withdrawn. Also, detail of base control added to the high baseline. They say, for example, access control. So they started now what they did, the winner control, like by control family. So they went to access control, AU, and all those different controls families. And they said access control, 20 new control were added in Reg 5, and none of the control is applicable to the high baseline. Do you see? So this is where you need to understand the fact that that control got added to a high baseline doesn't mean that it is applicable. And that's why we've heard the word tailoring, right? So you guys have the flexibility of tailoring that control. Does your organization want to implement it? Yes, you already have your baseline controls. It is not applicable, but it's left on you, or if you want to tailor it, if you want to implement a particular control, and then you also provide a rationale. And that's why they said that, however, there is one control attached to privacy control baseline, that's the AC 3414 access enhancement, individual access. This control provides, they literally copy what they have there and put. They also come to awareness training they provided, you see. So again, as I said, they went out like control after control, and they were able to do it for all the 20 controls families. Tell me, you being able to do the exercise, do you think when you get a job, you'll be in limbo, you'll be confused, you don't know what to do? Okay, so this was again a very lengthy session. I'm really tired today. I wish, I have to put it because we have a class on Monday and I want students to watch the videos before coming to class. So I tried, I did a good job. So make sure you watch it. Again, like our video, refer to your friends and family. And of course, I can't wait to create the next video. See you all in the next video. Bye.